Welcome back to Truth Over Tea. We're going to be talking about how hard it is to ask for help today. Now, the other day, Sylvia and I were talking about why is it that when somebody offers help, you immediately think, oh, I can't possibly accept that help. And you had such a great answer for me, and I think it rings true with a lot of you out there. It does with us. Remember what you said to me?
Because you don't feel worthy or feel like it's like a weakness or, oh my gosh, why would somebody want to do that for me? But yet, in turn, you would be, open and welcome to help your friend. But it's just something about you not feeling like, oh my gosh, can I really ask somebody that?
Right, and then we talked about how so often when people offer help, how there are strings attached to it.
Yes.
So when we've been somewhat conditioned by that in our past, then when people are authentically offering help, we're taken back and we tend to second guess. Has that happened to any of you?
Our guard goes up a bit when
Yeah.
people do that. I've been in a position in the past few years of having to accept offered help and then to ask for help. And it's hard when you're used to being the person who, like you said, you're there. A friend needs you or doesn't even ask. You're there. You help. You do what you can because you love doing that.
Right.
You have that kind of a personality. When someone does it for you, as much as you recognize the kindness and the generosity, it's still hard to accept. And it's a learning process to learn how to do that. But what I have to remember is I deprive them of the blessing
Right.
of giving if I don't receive.
That's true. Right. That's
They
true.
love to give help or support or a present or their time or their talent as much as I do.
Right.
So that's how I've learned to accept more, is it's giving them a chance to grow and give, which is a good thing.
I think that's a really good point, because I think a lot of us women, we're so used to giving and doing something for everybody else that sometimes it's almost like a power play. When you're the one giving, you're in control, but when you're the one receiving, that almost feels like you're not in control and you're needy and you need someone's help. But what you said is so true, Deb, that gives someone else the opportunity to be generous and to show us that they care and to come alongside of us and support and help us.
And to use their gifts.
And to use their
Yes.
gifts.
Right. I know for me, when I was going through my breast cancer and through the recovery of it, that was one of the things I struggled with the most is that so many people wanted to reach out and help, and I was so uncomfortable with people wanting to help me, and I kept turning people away and kind of locked myself in my house for a while. And I remember my mom saying to me, Cheryl, you need to learn how to be a graceful receiver, as opposed to just the person who's helping all the time and being the caregiver. You need to learn how to accept that gracefully. And then what it taught me later on about not only accepting their help gracefully, but seeing how other people reach out and help. And later on, when it was my turn to help somebody who was going through breast cancer or something like that, I learned from those givers, this is how you give gracefully. And so it all ends up coming back around. But I mean, it's really difficult for women, especially because we see ourselves as superwoman.
Right. You're right.
Wonder
We can do
Woman, we
everything.
can do everything. And then all of a sudden, we're in this position where we actually really need help. So yeah, learning to be the graceful receiver. I think that's
I
really
have to
wise.
say that I have enjoyed my time with you with my new business and you coming to my aid, and the fellowship that we've had together and the memories that we've had together, just rolling, pain, just laughing and talking to me. I mean, so.
Yeah.
And sitting
You
on
just
the
don't-
floor of the warehouse and having champagne and toasting her adventure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This sounds like
It's
a good
been really exciting to see you grow and just continue to use your gifts and to bless other people through your creativity. And you are a very gracious giver because you always support my events.
Yes.
But then you're also a gracious
Receiver.
recipient because you were, great, come help me and I will feed you.
Exactly.
That's great.
And I think that sometimes I know in my life anyway, when I want to help somebody, I'm willing to do the big thing. I'm
Right.
willing to do the huge job that nobody else wants to do to help. But in being a receiver, I have to give people the opportunity to do the tiniest things that will help me.
Right.
They may want to do the big things, but even the tiny things that I think, oh, no, I can handle that. Well, you get enough tiny things piled up and you can't do them all.
Right.
So
As
when,
much as
when
you
in
want
the
to.
things I've been through, when I had friends offer to help me sort through an old storage unit, take some things to the thrift store, think just simple things, it was such a blessing to me to receive those. And it's been a learning process. So now I know, like you, Cheryl, that I can offer to do little things for people. It
Right.
doesn't always have to be something
The big
huge.
thing.
Right,
Yes.
right. So I think in giving and receiving, we really learn the dynamics of how to do that well.
Do you think that it's harder for women who have ran businesses and have called all the shots to receive? Or do you think it's just being a woman?
I think
And
being a
I
woman.
think it's
that
being a
we're,
woman
I think,
because I know
always nurturing
moms
others.
who have not run a business other than a family, which is a
It
business.
is a business.
Yeah, it's like a corporation.
Right.
I think it's
Most
hard for them
definitely.
too because they're used to just doing for their family, their kids, their husband, the house, their friends,
Right.
I think it's a universal woman thing.
I think you're right. And I
I
think
agree.
too that sometimes allowing people to give you help when they offer it, sometimes it's more difficult because it takes a lot of time to explain exactly what you need. But then again, like you said, you're kind of dismissing their offer of generosity and you're not allowing them to share their gifts with you. And that's kind of selfish in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
It's true.
selfish to always want to be
It's
the
true.
giver and not the
Yeah.
receiver.
It's true.
Do you think that there's a difference culturally in our generation now as compared to our grandmothers where they were in quilting circles and they all sat together and they shared and they would cook together and they would do all these things and bless each other? Personally, I see the shift because now our lives are not as intertwined
Right.
with
Yeah.
our mothers, our grandmothers, aunts, and extended family, and we're doing so much more on our own. Do you think that there's this shift to
I'll
where
share
like
an
more
experience
pressure?
that I had. I had this wonderful couple that lived next door to us for 3 years, and we would wait at each other, and we would say, but we never. And something always said, "Gosh, you should, go over there." And I was always so busy, and I was always next time. Well, come to find out, little by little, we started to get to know each other, and oh my gosh, they were just sweethearts. I mean, I don't have daughters, but if I could have had one, I mean, she was just awesome. And we became close and everything, and we just started a fellowship and have a relationship. And all of a sudden, she says, "Sylvia," she goes, "I have to move." She says, "We're getting shipped out to Okinawa," and it just broke my heart because I thought, I missed out on, all those years with them. But then it's like we talked and we shared. She goes, "You know what? For whatever time we had and the experience and the memories that we have now," she says, "we're friends for life now." She said, we keep in contact. And she's like, "In 3 years from now, we hope to, 4 years, we'll come back." But the point of the matter is you can miss out on friendships and relationships, because
By
we're
not
still
reaching out.
busy
We're busy.
sometimes. And
Well, we're not community anymore. I mean, it's like, we don't live in these small communities
Right.
where people all pitch in together and do something to help another person out, a barn raising or,
Yes.
bringing somebody an apple pie because they're ill or whatever. So we're not in those small communities, and most of our families are dispersed in a lot of situations.
But I think we could be. I know that a lot of the younger families, like in our church, they still cook for each other when you're ill, or when my mom was recently ill before she died. I was so amazed that some of my daughter's young friends dropped off 4 meals to me. And I was thinking, I don't really need that. But I'll tell you what, it was so handy when I was running home from the hospital or running home from where she was at home in hospice. And my family still wanted to eat. They still do want to eat. And it was just so, I was so thankful. And I thought, you know what, the younger generation, younger than me anyway, they do still do that. It's just changed, and we have to look for opportunities to help each other out.
That's the key. I think we have to be open to
Yes.
and sort of determined to find opportunities to create community and reach out and help each other and reach out and ask for help. In my life, I have always kind of closed myself off when I'm in a place of difficulty in my life. And
part of it is because I just don't hide things well. It's all over my face. If you talk to me on the phone and I'm having a bad day, you know
You'll
it.
know, yeah.
Now, I can fake it when I'm typing on a blog
Yeah.
post or Facebook, but really I can't. And so I tend to think, rather than burden someone with my bad mood or my problems or whatever my difficulty, I'll just sort of come back here and close
Yeah.
off until things are better. And that doesn't work. It doesn't. Like you said, Sharon, we have to ask for help sometimes, you know, and you have to be willing to reach out into your community that hopefully you've created and ask for help. And then when you don't need help, you have to be watching. You have to be
Yeah.
aware of what other people are going through. And if you haven't heard from someone for a little bit, call them, email them, go by their house and
Right.
say, how are you doing? Would you like to
Right.
go for tea? at
Right, and you have
Cheryl's
to not be
place?"
scared.
That's right.
Because that's
You do.
another
You have to
thing,
overcome
like-
your fear.
I used to think when I was younger, oh, it's so weird, somebody new moved into the street. They'll think it's weird if I drop off a meal and say, hi, welcome to the
That's
neighborhood.
true.
But then I thought, well, so what? They're getting a free meal. Why would I care if they think it's weird?
You did what your heart.
So you have to do what,
Yeah.
what
You- that's
kind of-
right.
you
Be
have to do what
authentic.
your- Yes, you have to be authentic and you have to do what God lays on your heart.
I've been a young married girl who moved into a neighborhood, a very young married girl. And when the older lady who lived 2 houses down came and brought me a huge cake and welcomed me to the neighborhood, it blew my mind.
I
was
know,
just
it
like,
does.
It was such a great
Yeah.
feeling to receive that. So again, I
Right.
think when we can remember those things that have touched us,
Yes.
and we can replicate that and pass that on and do it again.
And I think we're also mentoring others.
Yes.
We're mentoring others and saying, you know, this is what you do when someone's going through a hard time. Like I think I've shared at launch that for a couple of years, one of my children had some severe medical problems, and there were a couple of times where we almost lost her. And I had a friend who called me every single morning. Every single morning for 3 years, she called me and said if I was there or not, she would say, I just wanted you to know, I'm thinking of you today, my heart's right there with you today, I prayed for you and your family today. And that meant so
That is
much,
so
where in my
encouraging.
own mind, I would think, oh my gosh,
That is
I
so
can't call her every
encouraging.
day, she'll think I'm a total pest. But she mentored to me that when you're having a difficult time, just one of your friends taking the time every day at the beginning of the day to call you and not be scared that you're thinking she's a pest.
Right, or that you're
Right.
calling it a bad time.
Right, or whatever.
And
It
it's such a
doesn't,
simple
it's a
thing.
simple thing.
But it comes from the heart. That's
So, 2 thoughts on what you just shared. One, Deb, you said if you haven't heard from somebody, then to give them a call or stop in. Because so often that could really change the world for that person. They might be going through something really difficult and not have anyone to talk to. But also what you were talking about, Leedy, I think it shows like leaving your legacy behind. Because then, you know, as we maybe move away, like Sylvia talked about, or, you know, like I lost an elderly neighbor recently, we're leaving that legacy behind.
Right.
And those are really precious memories to the people that we've influenced and their lives. Yeah.
I think anytime you can find a point of connection with another person, even if it's a very small one, and you can do something kind for them, you set something in motion. You put it out there, and I think there's a commercial on TV about that, where somebody does something for someone, and then that
Yes.
person
Like
does
paying
something
it
nice,
forward.
holding in
Yeah.
door.
Yeah, the
You are
money.
paying
Right.
it forward, and you're just
Yeah.
putting that good intention and that good energy into motion, and it's like a kindness wave that kind of goes out from you. And you should just try to do that.
I agree.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us for Truth Over Tea, and we will be back soon to bring you more inspiration.